How's things? My name is Thomas Tvanny, number C22458846, and this is the video for the last server-side webdev assignment. So the aim of the assignment was just to implement SQL using the database via XAMPP. So I'll just show it here now. So within the database, I have just kind of two test things, and then I have username and password under the My Applications DB database, which is under, and beneath that is a table called login table, which contains the columns password and uname for password and username, and then these two are just test ones that I did when implementing the just creating the database. And then this was put in via the create new entry page that I've made, which also logs in and verifies and all that. So this is the view of the internal database essentially. So we'll have a look at the code now. So if I try and put in the one that was there that said what was actually said in it? Root and 12, that will fail. So if I try and log in with that, it will go incorrect username. But if I try Thomas and I do 4197, it will go through and it will connect to the database successfully. So we'll have a look here at the code that was implemented. So from previous assignments we have just the top bit that has all the CSS, like the skeletons, and I have the normalized one, which is colour and bits like that, which works in conjunction with the skeleton. And then just title the login page, and then there's like an image and stuff that's off to the right, that's just a TU Dublin logo. And then buttons that link to various different pages. So this links back to the login form, contact page, and then a CV general page just for examples. Now, so down here is it starts a PHP session, which requests to join a server, the database, and the IP is 127, which is an internal IP address, which loopbacks. It's a loopback address. Then so it sets up a username and password for the code to use down later on. So it checks what's there and has these. So it checks the connection, and if it can connect to the login table database, it will. And if it can't, it'll print that it can't connect to the login table database. And if it can, it'll print a message saying it connected successfully. And this is all dependent on the passwords and things like that. So that that takes the data, checks the username and password in the database, compares them against the database, and if it can find the details, it'll print login successful, and otherwise it'll print an error. And then it just closes the SQL statement here. And then there's just username and password for like text boxes and different things, which just allows for buttons and also the inputs which it pulls from. And then down at the end I have a button inserted, which just makes it obvious for the create a new entry in the database. So when you click that, it's right at the bottom of the screen, very easy for the customer to see. So if they need to make a new entry into the database, they can. That way it's just easy for the customer or the user, whoever is using it. And then it just closes and does error checks within the program. So we're back on the website here now, and we'll go to the create new entry. So it uses the existing CSS text and style for the title thing here. So if I go, so we seen earlier in the database, that's not the database, but if we can see here that there's Thomas 4197, and we'll go back and say we'll go say Devani and 1111, and we'll go create, and we won't save that because so we'll go back to the database now, do a refresh, and we'll see that 1111 is the password and Devani are now in the database. So it's just, it works, it inserts data into the database, and it also has SQL prevention, which or not SQL, injection attack prevention, which I'll show in a minute because it can only allow certain characters. So here's the back end of the site for the creating a new entry in the database. It's the new create new entry PHP file. So we've got the same things in the top as the previous file. We've got the form style, CSS, and all that for the other pages. Image again, and then we have the function to validate the input, so that just checks that, and then we have the it reads the input from the form that has been typed in by the user, and it will compare it against the valid data, or not valid data, but the valid character list using the valid data command. So it can only use these letters here and numbers, otherwise it'll throw an error saying invalid characters, and it only functions on the create new entry PHP page because it only needs to do it there, which is where the header is, so it knows to go there. It's the database connection details, so once it has all this done, it'll connect to the database, and it will store all the results of the call and functions as con, which is essentially connection. Stores it under con. It will then check the connection while storing them in con, which I suppose could actually be quite confusing. It then queries the database to enter the new values that have been inserted in here, and it goes for the username and password, which are up here, so it knows to pull them from there. And then it prepares the statement and sends it over to the database, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it doesn't, it throws an error, and if it does, whoop-de-doo, it goes through. And then just for the text box and stuff like that, we've that down here, and then the closing statement. So if it works, it works. It doesn't throw an error, and if it fails, it throws an error. Thank you very much. This has been my assignment, and have a good day. Thanks.